Now, like it or not, I'm going to show you an easy way to create a vacuum. And an easy way to show that vacuums do indeed suck. Now, of course, Wikipedia and Google, your school teacher, and many others will tell you that vacuums don't suck, that there's nothing there in the vacuum. So, therefore, nothing can't do anything. That's unless they're talking about their Big Bang that happened at no time and no place when nothing exploded and created everything. That's when nothing is something to them. Now, here we have a plastic see-through medicine cap, and I'm going to turn it into a vacuum by pressing it and dispersing all the air from within. Now, I will press it, place it up against the skin, and it is sucking to my skin. You can see the skin being pulled into the jar. Now, this is not pressure from outside pushing through my arm, veins, flesh and bone to push the skin in there. There's a vacuum within this plastic container that is pulling on my skin. Do you see that? When you press the sides of this container, you disperse the air. You put it up against your skin and it creates a vacuum that is hanging. It is affixed to the skin on my arm because of the vacuum within it. There is nothing pushing this jar, this container against my skin. Now, I had to go get a piece of toilet paper. I use toilet paper because it's thin, and as you can see, any pressure will move it. That's just from me blowing on it. You see that? So now we have my skin being sucked into the jar because there is a vacuum within. I can hold the toilet paper right there, and you can see nothing is pushing, no static atmosphere, nothing is pushing that toilet paper against us. Do you see? Okay? Not from the side, not anywhere. And there's pressure. Okay? There's no outside pressure pushing this container. Are you seeing that? There's no pressure pushing that toilet paper against the back of that container. Okay? You can see the skin being sucked in, and you can hear it. Let's see if you can hear me detach it. Did you hear that? You can do this yourself. You press it together and you create a vacuum. I want to see if I can do it so you can see. I'm going to squeeze it together and you create a vacuum. And it sucks your skin in. Okay? The vacuums do suck. And yeah, you've been told in school vacuums don't do anything. And I'm going to show you something that contradicts that. That exposes the truth. Now here, I'm sorry for the glare. But the universal theory of gravity is often taught in schools as fact, when in fact it is not even a good theory. It is a religious belief that gravity is universal. Secondly, school textbooks routinely make false statements, and so they did when they told you vacuums do not suck. They say this nonsense because they don't want you to put two and two together. Okay? You knowing that a vacuum sucks debunks outer space. There's no way a giant ball Earth covered with gas and oxygen could exist within, directly next to, or surrounded by an infinite and expanding vacuum. The vacuum would suck all the gas and oxygen off the Earth. And we do see gas and oxygen fill vacuums at sea level. They fill the available volume of the vacuum at sea level where they say gravity has more influence. Okay? Gravity has more influence, but the gas and oxygen fill that vacuum. Okay? So they are being politely honest. Secondly, school textbooks routinely make false statements. And gravity being a fact is a false statement. Vacuums do not suck is a false statement. Okay, so what are you going to say? Huh? Andrew or Rick, what are you going to say? You have to go to Wikipedia and plagiarize material and come and regurgitate it verbatim to me as if I never heard it. You're going to tell me that atmosphere is pushing that container against my arm. You also have to say that atmosphere is somehow pushing my skin into the jar. Because that's what they'll tell you to say. Because they don't want you to know the truth. That vacuums suck, and there's no way whatever is beyond the skies of the earth is an infinite and expanding vacuum. The second law of thermodynamics, entropy, debunk it. Just like it debunks evolution. Things do not get better, they fall apart. And it's just overtly ridiculous. All the things we can demonstrate contradict what they tell us is going on way up in the sky in outer space, blah, blah, blah. This guy tells me that objects fall at the same time in a vacuum. Okay, I've never seen it personally. I've seen Brian Cox do it with about 10 edits in slow motion, and they always use the same type of feather. Now, if gravity is proportional to an object's mass, why isn't it proportional to the object's mass in the vacuum? How could they fall at the same time if gravity is proportional to an object's mass? What are you going to say? You got to make up more lies. You got to regurgitate what Wikipedia tells you. Don't you ever think for yourself? Don't you ever consider a matter yourself? Well, I do now, and I know that what they tell us contradicts what can be demonstrated in reality. Now, we got this umbra and penumbra nonsense. Okay, shadows are always either the same size or larger than the object casting it. They are never smaller. You cannot demonstrate any object shadow smaller than it. Do I have to show you that too? You know what? I got some time. I will. Now we can see the object is a 130-year-old cast iron fire wagon. When you shine a flashlight on something, you see that the shadow is either the same size or larger. You cannot demonstrate a shadow on the earth per any light source casting a smaller shadow. It'll either be the same size or larger. Okay, this umbra and penumbra nonsense is that. It is nonsense. Do you see what's going on here? The shadow is either the same size, right? The same size or larger. Shadows cannot be smaller than the object casting the shadow. But way up in outer space, they want you to believe this nonsense. Here's what they want you to believe. Okay? Let me see if I can get it. Okay, right here. They want you to believe the sun is casting its light on the earth, and the earth, the moon is here. Okay, here's what they want you to believe. You see these lines? They want you to believe that the earth is making a smaller shadow to appear on the moon. Okay, in reality, sunlight, they say, travels from the sun at 90 degrees parallel. So the sunlight would be traveling up here, 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 and here. Okay, it would be there traveling, It wouldn't go down like that. It would be like that, and like that, and like that, and that in between. You cannot demonstrate this. Okay? This is BS. Okay? And that's what they gotta do. Let me see if I can find a better one with the moon. Okay, right here. Sorry for the glare. They want you to believe that the sun becomes like a spotlight. And then they criticize flat earthers for saying the sun is like a spotlight. But here, they're depicting just that. Look, sunlight does not travel that way. It travels 90-degree parallel. Let me show you what they say sunlight does. Right here. Here's how they say the sunlight hits the earth. Parallel 90-degree lines, straight. Okay? It's not doing that funny nonsense. Okay? Now they show it hitting the earth evenly. The sun is here and it's I'm going to find the picture. Come on. Right here. Here's the sun and it's not being angled down. It's not diverging. You see, it's not going like that and then at the bottom coming up. It's coming straight out from every area of the sun right here at the bottom. Straight out. Straight out. Do you see that? See how they contradict themselves? But here, they got it doing this crap. You see that? It's going down now when it should be coming straight, 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 and straight. You see? And then they got the shadow. Look what the shadow they say the earth casts on the moon right here. This is their shadow. Look at that. It's going down like that. And I just showed you that shadows they're not smaller than the object's shadow. I'll show you again. Now you can clearly see that the light, the shadow on the wall is bigger than the fireman in the wagon. They're either bigger or they're the same size. You cannot make it smaller. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not smaller. It's a different angle, but they're still the same size. They're either the same size or larger. You cannot demonstrate shadows on the earth with any light source making smaller shadows than the object. It'll either be the same size as the object or larger. So they're just a big bunch of liars. Okay? Okay, here they have water in a vacuum chamber. Watch what it does. It'll appear to boil. It's really just bubbling. It has nothing to do with temperature. Now, do you see that? What is making that water bubble or boil or appear to boil? If there's nothing in the vacuum, what's making the water do that? Or is water sentient? Does water know what's going on around it? No. There's a negative pressure in that vacuum that pulls. Anything in that vacuum will be pulled on. Just like I showed you, my skin being pulled into the container. Don't tell me the nonsense regurgitated from Wikipedia, and don't think I haven't heard it before. I know exactly the nonsense you're going to regurgitate. Water in a vacuum appears to bubble or boil. So once the vacuum is created, the water will appear to bubble. What's making that happen? If there is nothing in the vacuum. Okay? There's something in the vacuum. It's a pulling pressure. I call it negative pressure. And here we are. It pulls. Here we are. I'm going to disperse the air. I'm going to put it against my skin. And it's going to suck itself to my arm. And you can see the skin being sucked in. Okay? I showed you there's nothing. There's nothing here pushing this against my arm. I'm blocking it. You see? I'm blocking it. The toilet paper has, come on, no reaction It's not being pushed against the back of this jar. Okay? This container. Alright? This thing has suction. It's sucking my skin in there. And it's because it's a vacuum. Vacuums do indeed suck. Now, in conclusion, they mock you right to your face. Why do you think they call the device that sucks the grease off your rug a vacuum? Okay? Vacuums suck. That's why they call that device a vacuum. Alright? A vacuum sucks. It sucks the grease off your rug. And they call it a vacuum. Alright? And it's mockery right to your face. You can't even figure it out. Vacuums do suck. They don't want you to know that, because then you'd realize there's no way the Earth covered in gas and oxygen could be directly within and surrounded by an infinite vacuum universe that's expanding billions of light years across. Okay? It's nonsense. And millions of people are awake to it. And you should too. Think for yourself and realize school textbooks have made many false statements to you. And it's all based on philosophical and atheist grounds. They don't want the Earth to be special. Under no circumstances can you yourself or the Earth be special. There has to be aliens out there that are far superior than you are in intellect, and there has to be millions of other Earth-like planets. They want you to feel insignificant, that your ancient ancestors are baboon-type primates. And any day now, superior aliens could arrive and take over or enslave us, or destroy the Earth, or an asteroid's on its way, or a solar flare is on the way. It's fear porn. Nuclear weapons are fear porn. There is no one single missile that could blow up all of New York City. That's fear porn. Okay, nuclear power should be for everyone, but they want to keep you buying batteries and surviving off what they call fossil fuel. Oil wells fill up within years of being so-called drained. That's all.